Hi everyone, this is Phil Scangas again, grant writer at Quality Support Group, and this video will help you complete the final round of information gathering necessary to complete your Workforce Training Fund application. Once I have all the information on this document, your job is over and I'll have everything I need to present you a final completed application for review. The document is broken up into 3 sections. We'll go through them one by one. Section 1 is company information. 1.1. If you have not already given your Department of Unemployment Insurance ID number, please put it here. 1.2. If you have not yet applied for your Certificate of Good Standing from the Massachusetts Department of Revenue, please follow this link to do so right away. 1.3 and 1.4 are 2 new optional sections. You will not be penalized for not providing this information, but if you have and are willing to provide this information, the state would love to see it. This simply helps the state track their funds better. 1.5. If you are owned by another company, please fill in your parent company's information here. 1.6. This is where you will indicate the number of Massachusetts-based employees for your company, as well as the number of worldwide employees for your company. 1.7. Have there been any layoffs over the past 2 years due to business downturn? They do not want to know about terminations due to cause here. This is strictly business-related reasons. If so, briefly explain the situation in Part B. And in Part C, regardless of your answers to Parts A and B, please indicate the net job growth or reduction in your company in Massachusetts over the past 2 years. This should be a plus or minus number. Section 2. This is the grant narrative. In this section, for questions 2.1 through 2.5, all I need from you is to provide some notes on the information that you would like for me to include in your answer. I will take your notes and format the answer properly. 2.1. Tell us about the issues such as business problems or opportunities that you intend to address with the training. Basically, in this question, they want to know, why are you pursuing this training? What specifically are you trying to accomplish? What specifically are you trying to solve? The more specific you can be for me on this question, the better your answer will be. 2.2. How did you assess your training needs? What went into coming up with this grant plan? How did you decide on these classes? 2.3. Describe your company's ongoing training activities. That is the only part of this question that you need to answer. I can answer the rest of this question for you. How are your employees trained now, both existing or new employees? 2.4. In what ways were trainees involved in the development of the proposed training plan? If you yourself are taking any form of training, then you yourself are a trainee. Therefore, that is one way that a trainee was involved in the development of this training plan. If you consulted with any other trainees, you can also include them in this answer as well. 2.5. Describe your company's commitment to provide significant private investment in training after the grant has expired. What they want to know here is, what is your training plan going forward? Who will be in charge? How often will employees be offered training? And what will that training look like? 2.6. Describe the process you use to select this training provider. As an employee of QSG, I would request that you fill out this answer in a little more detail to avoid any conflict of interest. Finally, Section 3 deals with future projections for the grant outcomes. The first thing I'll say about Section 3 is this is entirely a projection-based section. You will not be audited or held responsible for meeting these projections. You will be asked to report towards your progress in achieving them during the life of your grant, but that is just a way for your state representative to check in to see how you are doing with your training. All of the questions in Section 3 revolve around 3.1, key performance indicators. How will you measure the success of the courses in these modules? What are some specific metrics your company will use to analyze performance over the 2-year grant period? I have provided some common example KPIs that my past clients have used frequently and have been successful through the grant application process. You are by no means limited to using these examples. I've simply provided them because if you just fill in the blanks for 3 or 4 metrics in the format that I provided, that is all you need to answer this question. You don't need to explain why you track your KPI or how you track your KPI. If you are already tracking metrics that do not show up on this list, please use those metrics as it will be the easiest for you. 3.2 and on. For the remainder of these questions, I would like for you to approach them with the mindset if you achieve your KPIs from section 3.1. In 3.2, if you achieve your KPIs, would that put your company in a position to add any additional jobs to your workforce in Massachusetts over the next 2 years? If so, the state would like to know which employee categories those new additions would most likely fall into. I have provided the employee categories at the bottom of this document. They are the same employee categories that you dealt with on your match spreadsheet. 3.3. Will the proposed training preserve jobs that would otherwise be lost in the absence of training? If yes, how many and in which employee category? It is perfectly okay to answer no to this question. If you are not in a position where you may lose employees due to lack of training, please just answer no. You will not be penalized. If that is your situation, however, one of the objectives of the Massachusetts Workforce Training Fund is to preserve Massachusetts employment. So if this training can help you preserve jobs in your company, please indicate that here. Finally, 3.4. If you achieve your KPIs, will the proposed training lead to wage increases for employees company-wide by the end of the grant? If any employee, not just grant trainees, could be affected by this grant with an additional wage increase, that is what they would like to know here. You do not need to indicate which employee categories those would fall into. Just indicate how many employees may be affected by a wage increase. In Part B, they would like to know what the additional increase would be over the historic increase. They're assuming there has been a historic increase at your company over the past 2 years. And in Part C, that is where you can record that. In Part B, they would like to know what the additional increase would be that is directly attributable to the grant training. This does not need to be a drastic increase. That brings us to the end of this information gathering document. As I said before, once all this information is complete, I'll have everything I need to finish your application and give you a final version for review. Please feel free to send me over any information that you've completed on this document whenever you'd like. You don't have to wait till it's all there to send it over. I'll look at what you provide, we'll talk it over, and I'll fill in any information on your application that I can as it comes in. Thank you, and as always, if you have any other questions, please reach out to me directly. Have a great day.